I've always stayed behind you.
We're going to talk about a couple more people who are in the Mount Sinai section. Here we have, this is Abe Davidson. This is Galinsky, who we just mentioned. This is Gene Sherman. And this is Sam Slotsky. Now, I'll talk about all of them just a little bit. Abe and Dave Davidson were the two younger brothers of Ben. Ben is buried at Graceland Cemetery. They started the Davidson Brothers department store, which in the 1940s was purchased by Yonkers. So they had the downtown Yonkers here in Sioux City. The Slotskys. This is really fascinating. This is related to the city of Slutsk, Belarus, or Slutsk, Russia. This is where many of Sioux City's Jewish immigrants came from. In fact, every time we seem to research a Jewish family, they come from this very small area within about 20 miles of this region of what used to be Russia. Today is Belarus. Other people buried in Mount Sinai include Jacob Kalin, who started the Norfolk Furnace Company in 1921, which is today Kalin's Indoor Comfort. Kalin was key in the development of gas furnaces for use in this area. Prior to the 1950s, most furnaces in Sioux City were not operating off of natural gas. They were instead operating off of heating oil, wood, or coal. Other people buried in Mount Sinai include Albert Sepp, who owned many buildings around town, and including the Badgerow and the Francis buildings, but also operated and owned several restaurants like the Silver Steer, the Normandy, and Green Gables. Lastly, this guy right down here is Gene Sherman. Gene Sherman was a sports reporter, first at KMNS, Morningside, and then KCAU. He was sports director at KCAU from 1961 to 1985.
Oh yeah.
You want to do Kirk?
I'll do Kirk.
Yeah, you do Kirk.
I do Kirk. Another one of the youngest picture I've ever seen of this person. Edwin Ruthven Kirk is buried somewhere here in the Kirk plot. He doesn't have a footstone, but he's somewhere in here. He was an early Sioux City postmaster, businessman, and publisher. He was born in Ohio in 1834 and came to Sioux City in 1857 from Buffalo, New York. He partnered with James Sawyers in the early dry goods and clothing business, which earned him the nickname King of the Jews, despite not being Jewish. He published a newspaper called Old Kirk's Monitor to help promote his business. He also served as deputy county treasurer and helped form the first Sioux City Fire Department in 1869. Some of his government positions include fire chief, alderman, deputy county treasurer, deputy U.S. revenue collector, and a regimental sutler during the Civil War. A sutler is a merchant who sells provisions to soldiers actually in the field. So that's what a sutler is. I had to look that up because I had no idea. Something I forgot to mention when we were over by Isaac Pendleton is the shape of this family stone monument. It is in the shape of an obelisk. Most people are familiar with obelisk, thanks to Sergeant Floyd's grave. An obelisk is an Egyptian symbol, and you'll see them frequently around Egypt. They were used for various purposes depending on what period in Egypt you're talking about, everything from site markers to road markers, but they're frequently used as grave sites. The pencil shape was thought a way to convene the spirit up to the gods in the sky and up to Ra, to form part of the Egyptian pantheon. That's what happened when you died in Egypt. So you'll see lots of obelisks around. That is what the shape is hearkening to, that Egyptian symbol of an obelisk. So. And now we go up to probably the largest stone in the cemetery.